Welcome to the Land, your best sports betting show. Nice big NBA slate here on Friday with plenty for us to choose from. I'm in the midst of a nice little 13-5 run the last 3 nights, up 6.2 units betting on the NBA. That brings us to about 10 units up on the young season here. So feeling really good and on track for our goal of getting over 60 units made this year. I'm going to be getting into about 9 player prop projections and some best bets for you here on this Friday slate. If that all sounds good to you, go ahead and give the video a like and let's get right into it. As mentioned, in the midst of that nice run and still up big on the young season here. So if you do want to make sure you get every single play that I'm making in the NBA this season, head to the description of the video. Got the link to the WAP.com account. Get in the VIP Discord and get all the plays I'm making. Got a nice little season pass right now for the NBA, 40% off if you want to go ahead and get a nice little discount on all those picks for this year. But let's go ahead and jump into what I've got. Unfortunately, I'm starting with a bet I'm not making, but I got to talk about Donnie Mitchell because the reason that I'm not making this bet is that Paolo Banchero is now out for at least 4 to 6 weeks. There's the possibility that he's out for the season. That sucks, man. That just really, really sucks. And it does take away, in a much less important way, this bet for Donovan Mitchell because I was ready to go on the over here. I think both of these teams were ripe for an over in a game that only had about a 217 total. I easily saw this thing going over. The Cavs are playing really fast this year. Donnie Mitchell's taken 18 shots, and he would have more than that if they didn't have a couple blowouts under their belt, which led to him not playing as many minutes as he would have if they hadn't blown out a couple teams this year. By the way, last undefeated team in the league in the East, as well as OKC, undefeated right now. But other than that, this Cleveland team has looked incredible. They're also 4th in defense, and Orlando continues to struggle against the pick and roll ball handler. On purpose, right? They're just limiting everything from the spot up, letting one person get all the work and all the volume. That would have been Donnie Mitchell. I just don't know that I feel comfortable in a game that seems like it's going to be a blowout now. We've got Franz Wagner sick. Doesn't seem like they're going to rush him back in a game that they're also not going to have Paolo against one of the best teams in the East right now. So unfortunately, we got to stay away from this one. I don't know that I'll have any bets in it, to be honest, other than one person probably on the Magic that we'll get into right now. And as we jump into that Magic player, quick reminder as well that we have the live show going on every weekday now, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. You guys get in there, bring your bets, jump in the comments, and let me know what you want to look at. We go through those bets together, try to find the best value, have a really good time with everybody, showing you the tools I'm using and everything like that. But Anthony Black is probably the man, and I got to shout out Legacy King from the Discord. He has his own channel, by the way, in the free section of the Discord if you want to check that out. Some really good looks. Should be calling him the Parlay King. But he brought up a really good point about Anthony Black, which is that he's looked really good this season, and we've hit him a number of times because of the fact that he's playing about 25 minutes per game as a backup and has looked really comfortable as a facilitator, somebody that they might even want to bring in as an actual point guard on this team, which is the job that Paolo has been having up to now. That's the big reason that I would think that Black comes in. He's a huge point guard as well, 6'7", does a lot of stuff that Paolo can do without the polished offensive scoring. He is a really good facilitator and a really big body at guard. So I think he's going to come in and actually fit pretty seamlessly. We'll see what his props are at, but you can see he's at about 8.5 points on the season. Even if this jumps up to about 10.5 points or anything around that, 5.5 assists even, those are numbers that I'm willing to play an over for Anthony Black. Chicago is taking on Brooklyn, and I'm fading Vooch in this one. He's at about 20.2 points per game on the young season here. I think we got to expect some negative regression at some point, and this seems like the spot because he has not had good success against Nick Claxton or this Brooklyn team since coming to Chicago. So if you look at his stats right now, 46% from deep is a big reason that he's at 20 points per game, and this points prop for him right now is at 19.5 points. I don't think he's getting to 20 on the splits that he has with his shooting stats right now. He's a 34% career 3-point shooter. 46% has to come down at some point. And this seems like the point in time. Versus Claxton in the last 6 games that he's played them, all with the Bulls, 12.7 points per game. I wanted to add the rebounds and go under 30.5 points in rebounds for Vooch, but 11.8 rebounds per game against Nick Claxton. Just hasn't been able to finish around the rim after getting some of these offensive rebounds. And a lot of these are defensive rebounds for Vooch. So I'm leaving the rebounds out of it. I think the points are I know the points are the thing that I'm fading more than anything. So there's no point in adding the boards when that could actually tank this bet if he gets 18 and 13, that's highly possible. So no reason to mess with the boards when he could have anywhere from a 13 to 15 rebound game. But the points are something that I don't think will be easy for him to come by against a team that's been really good, by the way, defending above the break stuff. This Brooklyn team is 4th best in limiting above the break points. Basically, any 3 ball that is out above the wing or at the top of the key, that's considered an above the break shot. And that's the one that the Nets have been defending so well. Vooch is either shooting everything from top of the key or right next to the rim, and Claxton should be able to handle both of those areas of the floor. Keeping it in this game, I love Schroeder assists, and that's what led me to also kind of add Nick Claxton in here. Schroeder, 6.5 assists. It's a good amount, obviously, 7 assists, but he's in a really good spot with those dimes right now. Chicago is allowing the 3rd most assists per game to the point guard position. That defense up top, obviously taking a huge hit with Lonzo Ball only playing minimal minutes and Alex Caruso not even around anymore. So that has allowed a ton of penetration to the opponent. They're getting into the lane against the Bulls, and Vooch is anything but a rim protector, as we know. They're also giving up the most points per game inside of 5 feet because, again, not a rim protector. And Patrick Williams has not had a good time on defense either. They're also giving up the most points per game to power forward. So if there was a scoring power forward on the Nets here, I'd probably look to that person. Claxton hasn't had the most reliable minutes or usage, but he's the dude that's just going to be catching lobs around the rim for this team. I do like him I don't know if he's going to start or not yet, but even if he's not starting, he should be at about 25 to 28 minutes, and Schroeder's going to be just finding him with lobs around the rim consistently. The only thing that scares me about the Schroeder assist bet is he might just decide to shoot it himself with that porous Chicago defense, but I'm not adding the 19.5 points for him. I'm sticking with the assists, and I do think once we get Claxton props that the points for him will be good if it's at 9.5 or less. I'm liking an over for him to get double digits. What's up with the Nuggets, yo? We got Christian Brown, though, regardless of how poorly the Nuggets have played so far this season. A bigger tank job. I'd love to know in the comments who's in jeopardy of having a worse season right now, the Bucks or the Nuggets. It's up in the air. I go Bucks. I think the Nuggets can turn it around, but Christian Brown, points and rebounds, this is a really low number right now, and it almost feels like a trap, but this is a decent matchup for him, a team that he's played well against in the Minnesota Timberwolves, right? We're going right back to a rematch of that playoff matchup there in the semifinals of the Western Conference, and Christian Brown was really important in that series, and he's become even more important to this team this season, as they hoped he would. He's averaging 19 PR, points and rebounds, on the season, and the 9 rebound chances alongside roughly like 5.5 rebounds is awesome. And a big reason why I love this bet is the rebounds, but the points are also under 10. 13.5 is too low when you put those together. So I love both of them because he's also taking 10 field goal, 10 shots a game and 3 free throw attempts. I love that he's getting to the free throw line and adding 2 points from the line every game at this point, because it's hard enough to score in the NBA. Getting these easy points is crucial when you want to take an over on a player and his points. As I mentioned, versus Minnesota in his career, 9 points and rebounds in 17 minutes. Well, this year he's playing 35 minutes per game. And those are a little bit inflated, those minute numbers this year, because of the fact they played 2 overtime games now, have the Nuggets, as they needed those overtimes to come back against the Raptors and the Nets. But either way, that shows you, like, okay, he has a little bit of an inflated number, but 32 minutes, obviously much better than the 17.8 minutes that he's been averaging up until this point in his career. There are props to be found in this Kings game. I am telling you, man, Atlanta is still a very bad defense. Now, interestingly, they've actually been decent at limiting assists, but I got to go with De'Aaron Fox, still at 5.5 assists, and I'm getting plus money right now on Thursday night. This is going to get nuked down to like minus 110, maybe down to minus 120 by the time, the morning time comes around on Friday. But I think at 5.5, that is playable to about minus 120 for De'Aaron Fox to take the over on that. He's at 12 potential assists per game right now. And although Atlanta is 10th best at limiting assists to point guards, they give up a ton of stuff to the spot up. And that's where De'Aaron Fox has been finding both DDR and Kevin Huerter and Keegan Murray. And more so Keegan Murray and Huerter have been getting a bunch of those shots up because of De'Aaron Fox, the dribble penetration. Same with DeMar DeRozan, who also has some decent assist numbers for this team. I think they're both going to have plenty of luck, of an easy time, I should say, not luck, just skill, finding open shooters against Atlanta, who is terrible against the spot up and is without Dyson Daniels. That's a huge part of this, and that's a part of another bet that I have for a different King right now. The aforementioned Kevin Huerter, also known as Red Velvet. With Dyson Daniels out, this is a much worse defensive team. That's how important he is to this team on defense. They're also without DeAndre Hunter, also important to their defense and to their rebounding and ability to defend down low. But I like Herter's really low point total here and on the prop line, because he's either looking at Trae Young or David Roddy that are going to be guarding him. I mean, I think he's going to get plenty of Trae Young. You look at the other matchups, you can't put Trae on DeMar. You certainly can't put him on De'Aaron Fox. I don't think you can put him on Keegan Murray, obviously, and certainly can't put him on Domantas Sabonis. That leaves one man on the starting lineup for Trae Young to reasonably have a shot at guarding, I guess, although Huerter is just so much more athletic and bigger than he is as well. I don't think he's going to have any problem scoring over him or going to the rim. Trae, if you just look at this last game versus the Wizards, as good as he was, 35 points, I believe 15 assists in that game, he's also a big reason they lost. He was a complete turnstile the whole game, whomever he was guarding. First, he starts out on Bilal Coulibaly. He has like 1 million points in the first quarter, so they put Jalen Johnson on Coulibaly. Okay, cool. So let's put Trae on Bub Carrington, the rookie. 10 points in 5 minutes for Bub at that point. So he's just a complete liability, man. He's going to continue to be basically a net neutral with how good he is on offense and how bad he is on defense. And I like Huerter to be the one to take massive advantage of that. As we head out, another quick reminder, we got the live show tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see y'all there with some bets to look at. And if you do want a nice little discount to props.cash, I'd mention first month you get 25% off if you do use code LYB24. One of the best tools out there for finding all the research you need for those bets you're making. That is all the time I have for you guys in this one. Hope to see you during that live show. Going to have plenty of NFL stuff coming out this weekend as well. Let's keep it going in the NBA until I see y'all next. Happy betting.